God bless you, my brothers and sisters. We are continuing today in our 40 Days of Decrease series. I want to commend you to read through the scriptures for today. That's John chapter 21, verses 10 through 14. And today we are fasting from escapism. This is day 38. We are quickly coming around the mountain as we make our march towards Sunday. Escapism is the instinct to flee discomfort instead of facing it. Whenever disappointment, grief, or confusion surface, what we reach for naturally is distraction. We're looking for some activity, something that can entertain us, some noise, something with which we can make ourselves busy because we want to avoid what feels unresolved. Spiritually, escapism allows pain to remain unaddressed while life continues at full speed. But Lent interrupts that reflex. It insists that healing requires presence rather than avoidance. Today calls us to remain rather than withdraw, to sit with disappointment long enough for transformation to take root. Escapism is the habit of numbing sorrow instead of naming it. Spiritually, this appears when we flee silence, when we outrun grief, or anesthetize disappointment with activity. Escapism does not remove pain, but it can certainly delay it. To fast from escapism is not to linger in despair or glorify suffering. It's to refuse distraction, specifically distraction, as a substitute for healing. This fast trains us to stay with God when answers are slow and emotions are unresolved. In John chapter 21, verse 10, after the disciples recognize Jesus, he calls them to bring their fish to the shore. Jesus said to them, "Bring some of the fish that you have just caught." They come in from the water, not to escape reality, but to re-enter it. Verse 12, John continues, "Now none of the disciples dared ask him, 'Who are you?' They knew it was the Lord." Recognition has settled in, but there are questions that remain. And Jesus does not rush explanation. What he provides instead is presence. According to verse 14, this was the third time that Jesus was revealed to the disciples after he was raised from the dead. And that repetition matters. Resurrection unfolds slowly. Jesus returns again and again, meeting the disciples in their unfinished understanding. Breakfast by the shore is mundane, but it's also holy. Jesus does not hurry the disciples past their confusion. He stays with them. Escapism is necessary, or escapism rather is unnecessary when Christ meets us where we are. Escapism assumes that movement equals progress, but scripture reveals otherwise. Transformation often occurs in stillness and repetition. Jesus does not remove the disciples from their disappointment. He redeems it through presence. The risen Christ is not scolding them. He's not entertaining them. He feeds them. He gives space over that meal for grief, for confusion, and for hope to all coexist. Escapism then collapses under the weight of patient love. Remaining with Jesus in these moments allow their disappointment to mature into trust rather than to harden into withdrawal. And I want you to grab a hold of that. I spent a lot of time on that line. Remaining with Jesus allows disappointment to mature into trust rather than to harden into withdrawal. Escapism delays healing, but presence invites restoration. God meets us not beyond our pain, but within it. Jesus doesn't urge them to move on quickly. He sits with them until they're ready to rise. Lent then retrains our sense of endurance. By fasting escapism, we learn to tolerate discomfort without fleeing it. This discipline forms patience, it forms emotional honesty, and it deepens our trust in God's timing. Staying then becomes an act of faith. And when faith is coupled with corresponding action, it's no longer just faith, it's trust. Today's fast invites intentional presence. I want you to notice, this is how you apply this today. I want you to notice where you default to distraction when discomfort arises. Ask what emotion or question you're avoiding. Then I want you to choose one moment today to remain instead of fleeing, to sit quietly, to pray honestly, or to resist numbing habits and let God meet you there. These are your reflection questions before you pause to pray today. What do I use to escape emotional or spiritual discomfort? What pain might God be inviting me to face rather than avoid? And how could remaining present deepen my trust in God? Again, I want to commend you to read through the scriptures today. That's John chapter 21, verses 10 through 14. And then take the time to pray and really sit with the ways to apply this today. God bless you, my brothers and sisters, and we'll see you on the next day of Lent.